Let's go to chat for a bit. Mr. Ripley, progressives should suggest creating a civil service force in America with millions strong. Use this idea to dunk on AI. Lefties need a message. Agreed. Agreed. Did you see the interview with Jon Stewart and what is his name? What is his name? He leads the DNC at the Democratic Party right now in the House. Hakeem Jeffries. And Jon Stewart was effectively saying, look, dude, it's not that the message is wrong. The substance is missing. Basically, Hakeem Jeffries kept making this point like, we need to change our message. We need to change our messaging. And Stewart's point to him was, it's not the messaging, it is the substance. You're not offering anything. You're empty suits. The public knows you're empty suits. They don't trust you. It's that. And Hakeem Jeffries could not get that in his mind. And so the only thing Jeffries would say is, it's messaging. I agree with you, Mr. Ripley. I think the issue goes beyond messaging and goes into this notion of what do you stand for? What do you represent? How do you present that thing that you stand for to the American public in a way that makes sense, that's cohesive, and that they can get on board for because they know that's what you're pushing for? Meaning, if you give me a standard, if I say every day at 5 o'clock, I'm going to do X and Y, in a month, you can evaluate. Did he do what he said he was going to do? I'm saying that they don't do that. There is no project 2025 for the Democratic Party that you can measure what they're doing by, whether they're succeeding or failing. Here are the numbers that said this. How does these numbers line up with what they were trying to do and what they were trying to accomplish? There's nothing like that for Democrats. They are so self-righteous that from their point of view, in their minds, we are doing everything right. We're just getting the messaging wrong. No, not so much. Mr. Ripley, you're completely right. They need substance. They need substance. They need something to be able to get across to the American public that they give a damn. And not just give a damn, that they're actually working for and towards something. I don't see that today. I don't see it. I mean, we've spoken about it a few times about why, but I don't see it. You're muted. Yes, I was muted. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you for the heads up. It's wow, man. I am right here. This is Stewart talking to Hakeem Jeffries. It's mind blowing that you lose to Trump, you get decimated in the election, you lose the Electoral College, and you lose the popular vote. You're left flat-footed because everything that you've thrown at this man, he's absorbed and he's went forward. And you're now in this position where we did everything that we could to take him down and he's still standing. What do we do now? And they seem to be completely oblivious as to what to do. And yet, they're still self-righteous enough to go with this idea that we're doing everything right. The issue is just messaging. And Jon Stewart is trying to snap some sense into Hakeem Jeffries on this issue and is failing to do so the entire way through. The clip is not long, but the clip is telling about where the party is today.
Where is the Democrats' Project 2025? Is that underway? Is there everything you're saying feels right to me. The Democrats have to make this point. Where's the infrastructure to do that? And who are the leaders taking charge of that effort? Because when I listened to, I believe his name is Ken Martin, is that correct? The new DNC chair?
That's right.
He kept saying it's a messaging issue, as though, no, everything's going right. You just don't realize it yet. As opposed to, we've gotten away from New Deal values. Does that make sense to you?
Well, I think there's a few things going on here.
Yeah.
In terms of how we better communicate with the American people, Maya Angelou said it best. People won't remember what you say. They may not even remember what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel. And I think what we have to do a better job of is making the American people feel that we understand the pain that they've been in economically for a long period.
Dude, no, 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 no. Fuck are you talking about? No, no. It's not about, no. It's not about making people feel a particular way. Like, meaning, this is not conceptual. This is not esoteric. We're talking about politics, legal stuff. And what Stewart is pointing out to him is, we have gotten away from New Deal values. This party of FDR, in the way that the party was cast, FDR put his stamp on the party to such a degree that it has lasted for 70 years. And Stewart's point to him is, under New Deal values, the American public believed, they understood what you were doing, they could see what you were doing, and they could see it in real material terms in their well-being. It wasn't about what they felt. It's what they could feel materially, if that makes sense. It's not about how I feel emotionally. It's about whether or not I have more money in my wallet, whether or not my house note is lower, whether or not the prices at the grocery store are so exorbitant that it cuts into my ability to feed my family. It's that. That's not feeling. That is more material. That is physical. And you can take policy as a Democrat or as any particular political leader in order to make that material reality different than what it is. Now, will people feel a certain way when their material reality is attended to? Yes. But they're feeling a particular way because their material reality has changed. Stewart is pointing out to them that the New Deal Democrats have been cast to the wind. Third way Democrats, when they came in, there was this political, let's say, polarity shift where third way Democrats under Bill Clinton, and you could say on some level under Carter, were able to effectively eliminate New Deal Democrats. I mean, Bernie Sanders today is effectively just a New Deal Democrat. They want him nowhere near the power base. And if you go back to the election that Sanders was running against, I believe, Clinton in, where Chris Matthews pointed out, maybe it's better to lose to Trump now as opposed to having Bernie Sanders win the primary and win the election. Because if Sanders wins it, he is going to win it for a generation. Meaning, this New Deal energy, this New Deal point of view would be the standard going forward if Sanders takes it. And Chris Matthews was like, that is a problem. We need to stop that, even if it means losing. So when he is having this conversation with Jon Stewart, and Stewart is pointing out New Deal politics, and Jeffries can't touch it, don't want to go there, and instead going to, we need to make people feel better. I play back. It's like, dude, you're off the reservation. You're off the boat. This is your issue. It's not about people's feelings. They don't trust you. They don't believe you. And for all intents and purposes, you lost on a massive effing level. And I know some people say, well, it was only 1%. Yes, but demographically, it was believed that Republicans could never get the popular vote for a presidential election. Trump did. So you got to reconcile that. You got to deal with that. You lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And you also lost the Supreme Court. You lost it all. Why? It's the pertinent question. Jeffries, and honestly, Democrats that I run into on a daily basis, or every random blue moon when you just got to have these conversations, they're so self-righteous they can't see it. They don't get it. They can't see how their party has become a party of war, eternal wars, in the way that they operate. They can't see that the party has lost these kind of New Deal qualities of dealing with people's real material concerns. They don't see, from their point of view, we're least worse. As if least worse is enough. It's not. This is Stewart. One more time.
Where is the Democrats' Project 2025? Is that underway? Is there, everything you're saying feels right to me. The Democrats have to make this point. Where's the infrastructure to do that? And who are the leaders taking charge of that effort? Because when I listened to, I believe his name is Ken Martin, is that correct? The new DNC chair?
That's right.
He kept saying it's a messaging issue, as though, no, everything's going right. You just don't realize it yet. As opposed to, we've gotten away from New Deal values. Does that make sense to you?
Well, I think there's a few things going on here.
Yeah.
In terms of how we better communicate with the American people, Maya Angelou said it best. People won't remember what you say. They may not even remember what you do, but they will always remember how you make them feel. And I think what we have to do a better job of is making the American people feel that we understand the pain that they've been in economically for a long period of time.
Dude, this is the Bill Clinton thing, right? Where they always say Bill Clinton has this capability of feeling your pain, that, he was the great communicator. He was the guy who would be out there talking to the gardener, or he would, any random person that they talk to, they could leave that conversation with Bill Clinton, believing that Bill Clinton understood them, that he felt them in some sort of way. That's what it sounds like Jeffries is saying. But Jeffries, I think, is missing the point that Jon Stewart is making. Where is your overarching strategy? And strategy might not be the word for it. How do you define yourself? What does it mean to be a Democrat? It's that. And is it this New Deal politics that put the stamp on the Democratic Party? And as part of the issue that they're having is that they lost that, not just in earnest terms, but also in the terms of the way the public views that political party. And if you look at the skew in the last election, Democrats got the poorest and the richest. So the elites ended up voting for Democrats. The working class voted Republican. That is amazing. Even unions, if you remember, ended up going towards Trump in this, so much so that the Teamsters didn't give their choice on who they wanted this year, because their choice would have been Trump by like 60%. That's amazing. A party that is supposed to be the party of the working class got beat by a billionaire. Jeffries believes it's all in the feels. It's how people feel. It's in the feels. It's about how people feels. I think they're missing the boat. And until they reconcile that, they would continue to miss the boat. And then, to get reporting that the people were pissed off that many of these lefty groups, like Indivisible, I forget the other name of the group, that these people were calling in to Congress, pissed off at the party. And the party gets pissed off back at them for calling into Congress. It's like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen to this party. I really don't. If you have leadership like Jeffries, and Jeffries doesn't seem to reconcile and grasp that the issue is substance, not optics, and that the public, jaded, somewhat cynical, don't really like the Democratic Party, they're on the outs, that they need to do something radically different. Donald Trump has come into office, and to make this last point before Esteban comes on, whatever you think of Trump, he's come into office like a bull in a china shop. And what he is demonstrating is that, if a president wants to be active, they can be active. Trump is an activist president, not necessarily for the activities that I would want all that much, but he is an activist president. So he comes in, signs all of these executive orders. He comes in, signs all of this stuff in regards to, makes all of these changes in regards to the way that the U.S. positions itself internationally. And if nothing else, he is a proof of concept that you can do that you can be an activist president, that you can push the limits of presidential power. If they take you to court, they take you to court. But at the very least, they will be taking you to court for doing God's work. You can do that. FDR showed proof of concept that you can do it. I guess I'm pointing out that Jeffries is standing here mealy-mouthed without any capability of articulating what a Democrat is, with being pushed on that notion of, hey, maybe you should be something different, and being completely incapable of acknowledging or recognizing that what Jon Stewart is saying is true. Trump is proof of concept that you can be an activist president. You may not like that activism, but he can do it. Democrats don't do that. Jeffries, in that statement, gets across how minimalist and out of touch that he actually is. That is the guy who is the leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. So that should give you some take on where the party is right now when Jeffries is sitting there, in one sense saying, it's about feels, and in another sense, going on TV saying, what do you want me to do? We lost everything. A beaten, broken man representing a beaten and broken party. They don't seem to be doing anything anytime soon. So there's